Hello, everybody. So we start with the prayers in the beginning to develop the correct motivation and so on, and then we start with it, continue with the teachings. Lama Rinpoche, Dagi Jiwo Benden Jonla, Kantan Jambo Gana Jazont, Kuson Togi Ngotron Zando So. Ogmen Chigi Yigi Podane, Duzon Sange Kogi Ngowoni, Ransen Chukur Moson Dunzembe, Zawe Lame Chabla Sovide. Sangye Kungo Zawe Lamala, Guzo Druba Chimbo Surwande, Dume Nelo Rango Shipatong, Tsedan Drupa Nyambara Chenjiro. Cheku Dani Gumbo Pame, Longo Wancho Paksho Chenreze, Yishen Gunin Guru Pema Chung, Jindo Palen Karmapa, Solwan Depso Chingi Labdo So. Tseden Chigi Tserab Usarigi, Dalon Timo Mumbarab Zarne, Katan Tenju, Sholo Topai, London Bombe, Nangwa Tando So. Shunu Kulu Jawambo, Yeshe Terme Rasdosar, Zigden Sunji Munselwa, Jampe Yamla Chanzalo. Ganzen Tarwa de Ban, Jose Triwara Dunayang, Gumba Jamyan Jingini, Gegme Parian Tombarjo. Gangdan Chuchuru Tungi Zigdena, Deje Loma Yumba Gonso Tak, Derde Tabe Chigi Charbeji, Dempa Damje Dereje. Semchen Namche Zembadan Loyi Chita Citarava Chichun Tumun Tepai Cheki Kolo Korondo So. So, if I remember well, we arrived at the third point, which is the actual practice, the body of the practice, you can say. So we described Is it? Yes. And we describe the description of yes, then the offerings, description of the deities, then the outer, inner, secret, ultimate offering, and is it no? Yeah. So did we also did the confession, remember? And praises. Somebody remembers? Can tell me, please. Before confession, or did we see the confession? I think we did this. Huh? Also praises, is it? Somebody please answer on the phone, on the chat, whatever. Okay, I think we did the praises as well. Yes. So then we go to the inner visualization and mantra recitation, is it right? Okay. Never mind. So we continue today. Please just tell me that you can hear me, because I have doubts that you cannot hear. Fatemi sapere se mi sentite. Pitiman me accusate. Ena minima. Okay. Okay. Okay, good. So then today we go, we're still in the third point of the main practice. Okay. Seems everything is okay then. So we go now into the what is called the inner visualization and the mantra recitation. So before we did the preliminaries, and then we did the development phase, the main of the deities, of the front visualization and self-visualization. And now we go, so we built up the mandalas, the two mandalas, and now we do the inner visualization. Before that, we arrived at the offerings, all the levels of offerings, the confession and the praises. So where we think then that the offering goddesses, who did also the praises, are reabsorbed into us, if you remember. So now we go to the inner visualization and mantra recitation. So we think now that at the level of the heart of the main deity, so it means Karmapakshi, for both self and front visualization, there is in his heart then a tigle, which is like a drop or a sphere of light made of 5 colors and blazing with 5 colors. It has the shape of an egg, you can say, and the appearance of a tent together with a roof, you can say, like a canopy on top. And inside this tent, this sphere of light, there is a sun and a moon disk. Sun and a moon disk. And on top of that, there is the wisdom being. The wisdom being here the wisdom being here manifests as the aspects of Guru Pema Jumne, so Guru Rinpoche, but is in the appearance of a siddha, which means with all the attributes of a yogi, of a tantric practitioner. So he's holding a vajra, and a skull cup in his 2 hands and is in the dancing posture. It's like a posture of great bliss, of ecstasy. On both sides of Guru Rinpoche, in this aspect, right and left, there are the 2 wisdom dakinis. They appear as the 2 young girls, 12 years old, and very beautiful. They are red in color and have no clothes on them. Their hair is flowing freely, falling on their bodies, and they have an expression of unbearable, unsurpassable bliss or pleasure, you can say. So they're blazing with bliss. They are holding a drikuk and a skull cup. Both of them are looking at the central figure, Guru Pema Jungnes. They are fascinated by him and making offering to him, completely gazing at him, offering, paying respect to, and pleasing him. So in the heart of the main figure then, both of self and front, we have this Guru Rinpoche with the two dakinis right and left. So, sphere of light inside Guru Rinpoche, standing in dancing position, and right and left, the two dakinis who are looking and, fascinated by him, and so on. And then, in the heart of Guru Rinpoche, in his heart then, there is another sphere of light and a seat made of a white moon. And on top of that, there is the Samadhi being. And the Samadhi being manifests as the red syllable Hri, radiant and clear. And on the edges of the moon disk, there are the syllables of the mantra Om, Om, A, Karmapakshi, Hung. And these syllables are like a garland, which is very red in color and are also very vivid, like vibrating, very brilliant and shining. And they are blazing like fire. They are drawn as thin as they're drawn as thin as a hair. So they're very fine. So it's not written like a Tibetan block print, which is very fat. It's not a fat syllable, but they're very, very fine, like a hair. And the mantra is then 1/3 of the size of the syllable Hri. So if this is the syllable Hri, for example, then they are 1/3 of it. Un terzo. All the letters, all the syllables are facing inwards of the mantra, and they are set up in a clockwise way, of course. And when the mantra will be turning, then it will be turning counterclockwise, anti-clockwise. And this will be the same for all the deities who belong to the classes of the mother tantras. And it is the case for all the deities in this mandala, because all the deities of this mandala belong to the mother tantra. So this is then the visualization of the main deity of Karmapakshi. In his heart, then we say you have this a sphere of light, they call tikle, sphere of light, which is the shape, general shape is like an egg, but it is like a tent, so it is something like this, and with a little bit like this above, like kind maybe of mushroom or something like this, but it's not that big. About this is more together, So, and inside there you have Guru Pema Jungner dressed like a yogi, and holding a vajra and a skull cup in a dancing position. Who is dancing out of bliss, and right and left the dakinis, red in color, holding a drikuk knife, like Vajrayogini, like a hook knife, and a kapala. And they're offering to him, then dancing in great bliss. So, and then in his heart of Guru Rinpoche, then you have the mantra, So then it's the sphere of light with the moon disk on top of the Khri, that you can read from the right side. So it's straight like this. You need to do like this to read it. And then in front, Om A Karmapakshi Hung. So you can read it from inside and it would turn clockwise. Was it? Yes. Yes. So then one has to concentrate on this meditation. This is then the inner meditation, what is inside us. Now we being the Karmapakshi, and in front the same, in both are the same visualization to be done. So now some explanation about this. Then one has to understand this kind of meditation as including the what you call the 3 levels of meditation. So then the first is then to meditate on one's body as Karmapakshi. This is what is called the Damtsik path or Samaya Sattva. The Samaya being the being of the sacred commitment, you can say. Then the second is to meditate on Guru Rinpoche in one's heart. And this is the Yeshepa, Jnana Sattva, or what we call the wisdom being. And to meditate the syllable Khri in the heart of Guru Rinpoche, this is the Samadhi Sattva, Tingedzim Sempa, the being of meditative absorption. And together with this, one meditates on the 3 kinds of samadhi, the 3 kinds of meditated absorptions. The first samadhi is when we are practicing the development phase of meditation, the kyarim, when we think that everything comes out of emptiness and empty nature. And empty nature is the essence or the basis, you can say. So this is the samadhi of as it isness, or the suchness called, of whatever manifests, which is then this empty nature. Then secondly, whatever manifests as being all-encompassing or all-pervading compassion. So all the appearances, all the manifestations, they belong to the expression of emptiness as being compassion. This is the second samadhi, the samadhi of whatever manifests, which means of all manifestation. And thirdly, we have the third samadhi, which means that after that we meditate on this syllable that developed from that, and the body of the deity. This is like the substance or like the support of our meditation. And this is the third type of samadhi, the samadhi of the body being perfectly or completely clear in the mind. So now then, we need then to think of the Lama, the master of the family, or of the lineage which abides on top of the head of Karmapakshi. As been explained before, in the shape of Guru Rinpoche. But in his ordinary aspect, we think that in the heart of this Guru Rinpoche is again a sphere of light, and inside that sphere there is a moon disk, and on top of that, the moon disk, there is a white syllable Hri with a red tinge, blazing red, and it is very bright. And again, around this central syllable, there are the syllables of the mantra of Guru Rinpoche. And this time, of course, the mantra is Oma Hung, Benzanguru Pema Siddhi Hung. And there all the mantras of this mandala facing inwardly, and they're set up clockwise, of course, and will be turning anti-clockwise. So once we have meditated on the main figure of which is Karmapakshi, oneself and front, then on top is the Lama in the shape of Guru Rinpoche, self and front, inside his heart with moon disk, sphere, moon disk, and Shri, and white in color, and around the mantra. Then, next step is to imagine what is behind Karmapakshi. So if we are Karmapakshi, then above is Guru Rinpoche. Then behind us, we said, there is Renchung Dorje Drakpa, Rechungpa. So at the level of his heart, there is again a sphere of light. Inside there is a moon disk, and on top of that, a white syllable Hri, which is surrounded by the syllables of his mantra, Om Benzarpani Hung. The syllables are also white in color, and they have the same characteristics as before. They are radiating with a red tinge, and they are also facing inwardly. They are set up clockwise and will be turning anti-clockwise. So that's the same for all the syllables. So you can say that all the syllables of the mantras we will see in all deities, the characteristics are the same, just changes the mantra of the deity, of course. Then on the right side of Karmapakshi is Hayagriva, as we said. So then Hayagriva, at the level of his heart, there is again a tent, a sphere of light, and inside of it there is a moon disk with the syllable Hri in the middle, which is red in color. And around the edge are the syllables of his mantra, Om Benza Truta Hayagriva Hung Pe. Trota, Om Benza Trota, or Krota, whatever you decide is okay. These syllables then facing inwardly and turning anti-clockwise. So this is same for all deities. Huh? So this is Daka. Now comes Dakini Dorjapamo on the left side. On his left side is then Dorjapamo, Vajravarahi or Vajrayogini. At the level of her heart is a red sphere of light, and inside there is a sun disk, and on top of it the syllable Hri in the middle. On the edge are the other syllables of the mantra, Om Benza Berotsani Ye Hung. Om Benza Berotsani Ye Hung. All the letters have the nature of fire. They are very bright, blazing with red light. The letters of the mantra facing inwardly and turning anti-clockwise or counterclockwise. Then, so we had above behind, right and left. Now we go in front. In front is the protector, Dorje Bernachen, main protector of the Karmapas, of Mahamudra. At the level of his heart, of Dorje Bernachen, of Mahakala, is a sphere of light, and inside of it is a moon disk. On top of it is a very dark blue syllable Hung, which is surrounded by the letters of his mantra, which is Om Mahakala Guna Hrida Hung He. The letters of the mantra are facing inwardly and they are turning anti-clockwise and very dark blue in color. So the same thing. And then beside Mahakala, on his right, is then the Yum, actually, Palden Lamo, Ranjung Yalmo. At the level of her heart, there is a sphere of light, like before, but here there is a sun disk as a seat, and on top of that is the central syllable Jo, which is deep blue in color and surrounded by the letters of her mantra, Om, Ruru, Roru, and so on. Then the letters are facing inwards and they are turning anti-clockwise and are also blue in color. On the left side of Mahakala is then the last deity, which is Damchen Dorje Lekpa. At the level of his heart, there is a sphere, a tent of light, and inside a moon disk with the syllable Tri in the middle, which is quite dark red in color, and surrounded by the syllables of his mantra, facing inward and turning anti-clockwise, which means when they will turn, because in the beginning we imagine these letters as being stable and not moving, So that's why I say when they will be turning. So they will not start turning from the beginning. So after that, one has to consider the syllables of the mantra, which their own radiance and brightness without the mind wavering, with one pointed mind, and with no distraction, until one is able to see clearly the different syllables. One also has to develop a very clear awareness of the appearance of the deity, to develop what is called divine pride, and to establish one's mind in that experience. So then, some more explanation on this. Then, so one first has to meditate on Karmapakshi, so the central figure. And then to develop the awareness of being really Karmapakshi. And Karmapakshi, so oneself and Karmapakshi in front. And then be able then to see very clearly, every aspect of his body, each detail very clearly, each one after the other. So this will be the beginning of the meditation, to establish this kind of ability, capacity, experience this. And once this is done, one has a very clear remembrance, you can say, a very clear vision of his outer appearance. Then one comes to the inner body and considers or meditates upon the sphere of light. Then, after that, the syllable Hri inside, then with the moon disk and so on, the mantra and whatever. Then with all the syllables of the mantra and see them very distinctly without being distracted. And then again, focusing one's mind upon this contemplation, letting no other thoughts come into one's mind. So, and when the mind is very settled in this, very stable on that contemplation, starts to develop the idea, the feeling of what is there, which means the divine pride, which completely overcomes the ordinary feeling of what we call I. Ordinary pride being subdued by divine pride. And finally, out of this divine pride, one starts to recite the syllables of the mantra as being the expression of all the former process. And when all of this is very clearly established, when you have this taste of experience of divine pride, then you can go to the next step, not before. And the next step is you think that now on the top of your head is the master of the lineage, the Guru Pema June. In his heart center, in the vital center, there is the syllable and the letters of the mantra. And you think that this mantra is also turning and then emanates rays of light of the 5 colors. You can think that these rays of light come out of the body of Pema June and then they spread into all the 10 directions and that they act as an unsurpassable offering which is made to body, speech and mind of all the peaceful and wrathful deities in all the pure realms, that it pleases them and that they are sending back the blessing of body, speech and mind in the shape of countless bodies of Guru Rinpoche, of Guru Pema Tuttensal, so the so-called skull garland, Guru, lotus or lotus Guru, which here means one of the wrathful aspects of Pema June. Think that these aspects of bodies are like a rainfall constantly dissolving into both self and front visualization. Constantly, in a very gentle way, of course. You think in this way you are obtaining the blessing of an ocean of lamas and you are reciting the mantra Om Benzang Guru Pema Siddhi Hum during this visualization. So this is the strict way how to do the meditation according to the instructions of Karmapakshi. And as it says in the beginning of the text, one is not supposed to put any addition or transformation to that, to manipulate the meditation or invent something, or let something out, or introduce something which was not there. No? Kind of self-made meditation should be avoided. Then there's another kind of visualization when we first start to imagine lights coming out from the self-visualization to the Dünkye, to the front visualization, and then from the Dünkye to the pure realms, and then back, dissolving into them. So the main thing is to then think that through that process, you are really receiving the blessings of the Lama as being Gyawa Jamso. So this and the Rinpoche was saying that here that this is not something one has to cling to as such, but as it was said the other time, last time, that one has to understand to understand it as being the essence aspect and not an ocean of Buddhas, Jalwa Jamso. Jalwa means victorious one, Jamso means ocean. So limitless victorious one, so limitless Buddhas is, but as being really connected with the Yidam Jawa Jamso. So inseparable of the Jawa Jamso, the Yidam Jawa Jamso, which is the higher Yidam of Chenrezi. So red Chenrezi in union with Vajravarahi, which Vajrayogini. So the main thing is to think with great respect, that you have a feeling of certainty of receiving the transmission of blessing of the Lama in countless aspects. The Lama is being the embodiment of limitless gurus or enlightened beings. And after that, you have to go through the same process for the next deity and the mantra which comes then. So the next one would be then Karmapakshi, the central figure. Again, you imagine lights radiating out from his heart and the syllables of the mantra making offering and bringing back the blessing of Karmapakshi in the aspect of countless bodies, like a rainfall of bodies of Karmapakshi that dissolves simultaneously into the self and front visualization, and thinking you are receiving the blessing of an ocean of Buddhas, or has been again explained, the Yidam Jawa Jamso. So the meaning is the same actually, in the aspect of the Lama or the deity aspect. So then we have to understand there's no difference between saying thinking of Gyawa Jamso as we usually think of a Yidam, or thinking of him as an ocean of Buddhas. Because basically the essence or the meaning is the same. Through the aspect can be, although the aspect can be different. So you can think of it as an ocean of Buddhas in the aspect of a Lama or a deity, a Yidam, a Dakini, or a protector, whatever. It makes no difference. Just the aspect can be different. You think that this constant fall of blessing enters the stream of your being in this way, while you're reciting the mantra Om A Karmapakshi Hung. So then, as said, first you have to establish very clearly the meditation in one's mind. But clear, here it does not mean only just a clear image, but the meditation becomes clear out of faith and devotion. So one has to feel a certain joy, a certain happiness in mind, contemplating the different mandalas. And out of this state of joy, one can start to do the practice of emitting, of sending and reabsorbing this light, and receiving the blessings. Because if you just do it in a mechanical way, it will not convey any blessings. Even if you are doing it very perfectly and very precisely, there will be no blessing there. And if the mind is filled with faith and devotion, joy, then this is what will allow the blessing to be transferred. Because in this way you are developing the pure vision, the pure awareness of all manifestation. So, and if you really have this pure awareness, then all will manifest as an ocean of victorious ones, with the pure realms and everything. So then after that, we go to the next phase, to the next deity, which is Rechung Doje Drakpa, with his mantra. So the visualization is exactly the same. So once again, you do this emanation and reabsorption of rays of light conveying the blessing. And here the blessing takes the aspect of an ocean of Mahasiddhas, of realized beings who convey their blessing. So you think that you are generally receiving the blessing of their body, speech, and mind, qualities and activities. Also, every time this is done, you can rest a little bit in an empty state, not clinging any longer to a formal aspect, but just enjoy the blessing. You can do the same thing with the following ones as well. So it means, for example, you've done the Pema Jugna meditation, recitation of mantra, you're receiving the blessing. So once you feel the blessing, you can just relax in this feeling of blessing, just enjoy it, and just go beyond duality, So into emptiness means beyond duality. So just relax, you enjoy this feeling of the blessing, and then you go on to the next. And then again, when you have the blessing of the next deity, you just feel that, you just relax, you enjoy it, and so on. And the next, and so on. So next comes then Hayagriva, Tamdrin, Hayagriva. Again, you think the same, radiates lights, comes back, and in the aspect of body of Hayagriva, granting all the blessings and accomplishments. And here, accomplishment of an ocean of dakas. So think that you become inseparable from the body, speech, and mind, and all their qualities, activity, and so on. And then you do the same for Dorjepamo. So Dorjepamo, thinking you are being conferred the blessing and accomplishment of an ocean of dakinis. And again, in the same way, you can spend some time in the empty state without clinging to the reality of what is taking place. Just enjoy it, but without clinging. And then you do exactly the same thing for the three protectors. Bernache, Ranchung Yalmo, Valdenamo, and the servant Damchen Dorje Lekpa. So you think that in the same way, you are receiving all the transmission of their different powers and qualities and activities, and you are being conferred the accomplishment of an ocean of limitless enlightenment activity, So you develop the awareness of this aspect of the activity being transferred to you, which is the speciality of the protectors. For each of them, of course, you have to recite the respective mantra in the same way as we did with the others. Huh? And you do this for a certain number of times. And you will have to recite less for these different aspects which are secondary than for the main one. Then according to the different kinds of practice that have to be done, the number can be different. In any case, one must recite one after the other all the mantras of all the deities and to concentrate one pointedly on each of them. So in this way, one thinks that one is gaining the capacity of an ocean of protectors and limitless enlightened activities. At the end of this, set the mantra recitation. So at the end of this kind of mantra recitation, the set, you can say, of mantra recitations, one has to recite the different vowels and consonants of the Sanskrit alphabet in order to purify one's recitation of the mantras. You know, Om, A, A, I, I, U, Ri, Ri, Li, and so on. After that, one recites also the 100-syllable mantra of Dorje Sempa in order to clear away all the impurities of the recitation and the mental attitude in order to receive properly the blessing. And finally, one has to add the recitation of the Ye Dharma mantra in order to stabilize this transference of blessing, to make it stay firmly in one's stream of being. So, and usually this set of consonants and vowels and the 100-syllable and Ye Dharma mantra usually is recited 3 times, one of the set. Then once the blessings have become indestructible in this way, one makes an offering to this ultimate understanding and to this accomplishment. So you think you are inviting the assembly of wisdom deities to come here to receive the offerings, outer, inner, secret, which comes out from this virtuous practice of the recitation of the mantras. You are also the perfection of all their qualities of body, speech, and mind, quality and activity. And you disclose and accept completely all the transgressions, all the violations, contradictory activity and states of mind, actions and intentions, which have gone against the vows of and against the samaya that you may have taken. And you also request for supreme and ordinary siddhi to be granted. So this summarizes the whole process, the whole thinking, or the whole thing which following the recitation of the mantras in a very pure and powerful way. And then after that you make the saying, Maha Amrita, Maha Rakta, Maha Balingtakaye. And after that comes another sequence of the practice, which is a prayer. It's a kind of supplication addressed to the mandala, starting with Om Ahung, a blessing of body, speech, and mind of the enlightened beings. And then you pray from the very vast and open expanse which is unborn, not produced, the expanse of the Dharmadhatu, so the sphere, of the sphere of all phenomena, arises the play of unceasing and limitless enlightened compassion in the shape of the mandala, the deities of an ocean of victorious ones. And then you say, I pray to you out of very profound respect, devotion, longing, and aspiration. Please grant the different blessings of spiritual power and more ordinary power, power of transformation, siddhis and accomplishment, as well as the power of the sense of empowerment. Myself and limitless sentient beings, may we awake from the tendencies of ignorance, and may we not become deluded by false beliefs in the reality of things, beliefs which make us see or cling to our own manifestation, to that which is nothing else but our own appearance, as being an outer object. Thus, in this way, becoming deluded by this clinging to a reality. And then in requesting these blessings, you say, grant your blessing that all these aspects be known as the nature of illusion, or like a magical display, without no reality in it. And after that you say, all the kinds of desire, mental desires, you can say attachment, to see this life as something which is permanent or there for eternity, or desire for solidity of this life, for this present experience, grant your blessing that all of them come to be known as just illusory, as a merely mental projection, illusion. And also grant your blessing that this continuum of body and mind, which comes from previous lives, which is the transformation or expression of previous life, can be seen for what it is, in its own essence. Then one says also, grant your blessing that the illusory present body of this very life, which is like a fortress that cherishes this illusory body as something real, that it may be understood as destructible. Grant your blessing that I gain the capacity to realize all the chatter and rumors and meaningless talk, all these things as just an echo, with no reality in it. So grant your blessing that all of this kind of hurricane of the 5 poisons, which is produced by self-interest, can be realized as being the 5 enlightened wisdoms. So grant your blessing that this sphere of manifestation and experience of both samsara and nirvana may become realized and understood as being like the dream with no reality in it. And in general, when for me and all sentient beings comes a time when fear arises, when this illusory body, which is the support of this life, comes to the time of death, when one is wandering alone in the bardo, when all these friends, possessions, wealths disappear without any trace remaining, when the fruit of positive and negative activity ripens, when one is completely disturbed and carried away by great fear and panic because of the illusory manifestation, the projection of the mind, And at the time when the mind is completely disparate, and there's no longer any hope, and it is an unbearable situation for the mind to face, at a time when all the positive and negative deeds come back into memory of past lives, at a time when one gets stuck and is wondering how to escape from that situation, at the time when one is searching for a place, for an abode, for next life, at the time when one is with empty hands and the arms are like pressed to one's breast or under the armpits. This is a kind of expression for great fear. When we have great fear, we do like this, and helpless state, you can say. At the time when one is completely carried away, drifting away completely helplessly, one has no longer control of the situation. When at that time, Father Pema Jungne, Father Guru Rinpoche, may your mighty, your might, your spiritual power not be small, and Lord Karmapakshi, bless me or touch me through the strength, the energy, or the enlightened compassion. And when you, the retinue of Dharma protectors, please, protection will not come from weaker ones. So please act so that this protection is strong. And when this time, this situation arises, then at that very moment, may I be able to see what is the compassion of the Father Lama. And don't send me to the lower realms. Establish me, guide me into the higher realms, into the pure realms of celestial activity, which means Dakini realms, into the completely what we call pure realms. So by miracle, by the enlightened power of illusion, which is able to establish in one instance with the swiftness of lightning, through the power of thought, to establish me in that very state of attainment of the ultimate fruit, without turning back, with no return possible. One-way ticket. So after having prayed in this way, so very deeply, very sincerely, so after having prayed in this way with very great longing and aspiration out of devotion, you think that now, by the power of the prayer, from the self-visualization, from the heart of Karmapakshi, emanates rays of light of the 5 colors, and these rays of light strike the front visualization, and they exhort the wisdom mandala to grant its blessing, to grant the 4 empowerments. And then you think that from the forehead of the mandala of the Lama in front of you, from each deity, emanate countless replicas of itself of all sizes, some big, some very small, and so on. And from the throat center then emanate countless mantras of each deity, of each aspect. And from the heart emanates different attributes of each deity. And from the navel and from the entire body then emanate the other different aspects of them in the form of nectar, being in the aspect of rays of light of the different colors. And you think that all these different aspects, the different steps of the initiation, of the empowerment, are given progressively one after the other. And you think that they dissolve one after the other into yourself as being Karmapakshi, the main visualization of yourself. And in this way, you think you receive the empowerment of body, speech, mind, quality, and activity. And then you become completely inseparable, undifferentiated from them. And after that, at the end, you think that at the same time, from the forehead, throat, heart, navel, and all the 4 chakras corresponding to these different places are completely filled by rays of light, of nectar, of ambrosia. And this has the power to purify the 4 kinds of veils, of obstructions, to grant the 4 empowerments, and to transform you into the fortunate one who will eventually realize the 4 kayas, the 4 bodies. And then you recite at that point this recitation, which is in the text, which finishes with Kaya Waka Citta Abhikensa Hung. You recite this empowerment mantra as much as you can, like 100 times, 1,000 times, and so on. This concludes then the main body of the practice. So this then is then the main body, you can say, of the practice. So with all the visualizations, the different kind of offerings, praises, confessions, then the mantra recitation phases with the different visualization aspects of the inner body, of the mantras, the 6 syllables, and so on. And then the recitation itself, where you receive the different blessings and so on. And at the ending, after the recitation of the mantras, one finishes with the purifications and so on, and then another set of offerings and praises, and then one asks for the blessing to be blessed so one is asking for the different initiations, so the different empowerments. And having received the empowerments at the end, with that concludes in the main phase of the practice. And now we go to the last part of the 4th point, which is the 4th point. You remember we have 4 points in the whole sequence of the practice itself. The 3rd was the main practice. Now it's the 4th, which is a conclusion. So when you come near to the end of the session, you think that for the resorption of the meditation, that the front mandala, including all the aspects, the different deities, dissolves into yourself. The self mandala is not dissolving at that point. That was only the way for transmitting the ultimate blessing of the wisdom mandala. Up to this point, the Dakhi remains complete, the self-visualization, but the front dissolves and is absorbed into you. And then you remain in that state, in the awareness of the experience of the mind of the Lama and your own mind as being completely undifferentiated, in a completely non-artificial way, in the great Mahamudra, in the Mahamudra of state of being, of the essence of mind, which is the natural, completely uncontrived, unfabricated state of mind. And so you come to this experience. You try to stabilize it, remaining in that experience. And this is the ultimate way for the blessing to be transferred. And it's the most sacred one. Or you can say the essential blessing, the very heart of all the blessings. The Mahamudra blessing is transferred in this way. And at the end, then after this meditation of Mahamudra, we come to the self-visualization. So you think that progressively the surrounding figures, all of the figures of the protectors, of the different mandalas, of the protectors, then dissolve into the central ones. And then progressively also you think that the Damchen Dorje Legpa, last of the protectors, dissolve into the Palden Lamo, then she into the Mahakala, Mahakala into Dorje Pamo, again who dissolves into Hayagriva, and Hayagriva into Rechungpa, then Rechungpa into Guru Pema Jungne, above our head, and then into oneself, Karmapakshi, and so on. Damche Dorje Legpa into Palden Lamo into Dorje Benachen into Dorje Pamo into Hayagriva into Rechungpa into Guru Rinpoche into us, into Karmapakshi. Then Karmapakshi dissolves into the wisdom beings in our heart. And the wisdom being, Guru Rinpoche, Guru Pema Jungne, dissolves into the three syllable in the heart, in the Samadhi being, in the shape of the Khri itself. And then the Khri itself progressively dissolves into the non-conceptual, the non-referential state. But then, at the end of this, you just remain in this self-essence. And this is the second phase. So there are two phases of dissolutions here. And here you try to protect the experience or keep your mind linked, united with this basic mind, with the Mahamudra mind, and to gain more profound insight into the nature of the deity, into the nature of the enlightened mind, and to experience what is called the wisdom pride of the deity, but with no shape, no aspect of the deity here, just the essence of the deity with no form as being divine pride. And after one does this, then one thinks one is instantaneously remanifesting as being the deity, reappearing in the aspect of Dorje Pamo. together with this awareness of being the deity, keeping this awareness, you then do the dedication. The dedication of the practice being beyond hopes and fears. And generally, all the benefits that may arise from the practice are dedicated so that all beings may achieve the enlightened body, speech, and mind. And once the dedication has been completed, one just remains, as we saw before, in this non-conceptuality of subject, object, and action. And from out of that, one keeps and then from that, one keeps the same awareness in any kind of activity after the meditation, preserving the essence of being the wisdom beings, the Doja Najorma, and that whatever manifests and is perceived through sense organs, all manifestation does not lead to any kind of attachment. And with a state of mind which is not trying to abandon something, and with a state of mind which is not trying to adopt another thing, not trying to establish another thing, or with a false belief of clinging to the reality of what is manifesting, but keeping a very open, a very vast, open state of awareness, which is not trying to encourage or to stop anything, to establish something as being real, but just letting things manifest by themselves and dissolving and freeing themselves by their own nature. So this is very broad, open attitude of mind that should be carried on with non-destruction and with awareness. This is how one is dealing with one's concepts in order to bring them to the path of realization, to make one's understanding keep progressing after the meditation. So whatever thoughts arise in the mind, think of them as being the circumstances of one's own manifestation or one's own radiance which is taking place, and use it with the understanding that they are self-produced, unborn, beyond intellect, made out of energy of primordial awareness. And then whatever activity you are engaging in, whatever situations arise in front of you, whatever experiences, keep the awareness that this is the sign of the Lama. Whatever experience arises, look directly at it without any kind of conceptualization involved, but protect the experience of meditation looking at the naked essence. In this way, if one is acting as such, then the 5 poisons, the 5 wisdoms, samsara, nirvana, whatever aspect takes place or manifests, since beginningless time, since the origin is unborn, unproduced, is the all-pervading Dharmakaya, is what is also called the unique primordial wisdom of the great natural Tigle, or essence of everything. and which has never been composed, which has never been produced like matter in a realistic way. So completely destroy any clinging to reality. And this is how one realizes the ultimate Lama, which is the Dharmata, which is the absolute essence of all phenomena, the Dharmadhatu itself. One has to develop to practice in this way until one comes to direct understanding, realization of seeing one's own face as being Dharmakaya Dorje Chang, self-aware Dorje Chang or Vajra being. And the last part of the commentary is the dedication and wishing prayer, which says, by the offering of the essence of the ultimate oral instructions of the great Siddha, may this sacred and very good, profound path of the essence of yoga, which accomplishes the sublime mandala of the Lama, may all the practitioners be established in this path and truly realize this state of Dharmakaya. So one has then to consider whatever experiences or manifestation take place, at the very instant it is there. You have to see it as the sign, as the sign, the experience, the expression of the Lama, and to remain without distraction, to always be aware of that quality. So remain in that without clinging to it, without making it a thing, without trying to conceptualize it, and without losing it. Sarva Mangalam. So, we did it after all. This concludes then the main commentary on the glorious Karmapakshi Guru Yoga, and with oral instructions complete. Then after we have to see a little bit the text together, although this was a combination of the commentary and parts of the text and oral instructions together, as it was explained. I received explained in the retreat by Gendel Rinpoche. So, which is also very practical to understand the practice, the instructions, the meaning, everything. So then, very auspicious that we could conclude this teaching for now, and then for you who will practice soon, then we'll have a look again at some points if there's something to see, if necessary. Otherwise, actually, the practical part, Sophia, you have to show to Yiri, and then Alessandro, he will take some more time because still has to do many other practices before doing this one. So then, I think then we can then rejoice in this, that we could condividere, we could share these teachings, these precious teachings on the Karmapakshi practice, on the Guru Yoga of Karmapakshi. So then we will have to do then another eventual for the lung. I don't remember. I think you said that he has already the lung. Then just remind me if I have given also the lung for the commentary. So it would be good to have this also, which is not so long, so we can make one time. Okay, so I think that's it more or less. Let me see if there's something important. Okay. Okay. So then anyway, I don't know why there's somebody in who should not be in this chat. Okay. So then I remind you these teachings are secret teachings, so they are only for you who we organize the teaching for, and not to be shared with others because it's a transmission. And so secret teachings of Vajrayana should never be shared without permission of the Lama. So important to keep the samayas pure and firm. So we dedicate now the merit for the benefit of all sentient beings. And do some auspicious prayers also. Sunam de yin dan jen je ba ne do ne ne ge ga nan dan je ne ge ga na jen ba lan tru pa yi zi be zo le tro wa trum pa re sho jang pe pa wo che ta ra chen pa dang kun tu sang po de yang de shen de da gen ki che sun da lon jin ge wa di ta tam she ra tu Yewa gyune sangye koson nye pe jin lab dan chuni mi churu dun pe jin lab gyundun mi che dun pe jin lab ye tsitar no wa me lan trun pa re sho kung san do je chang che me jin ne dun zin za we lama yi jing zhu we dun dun me lan gan dal pa de da tam she da gi trun pa re sho Sile de ge zhi be zhu da ji du so zang ge gu gi zhen lan zi za so yong du zhi zhen gar ma pe ji go la zo nan ji da xi shu. Okay. So, thank you again and see you soon. And take care and study well and reflect well and practice well as usually. Then we'll see you soon again. Bye bye.